nothing's beneficial is going to happen from you watching the fucking 30-second video and then going, oh yeah, I knew they were like that. Hello everyone, welcome to the Edward White Audio Thoughts. This is story time. This is where I just talk to a subject matter for about 20 minutes and yeah. So obviously what's going on in the world is different, scary, everything with coronavirus, all the kind of Black Lives Matter movement. There's almost like a change happening, and I think the reason that we're seeing it more is because of social media, because of the internet. We have access to all this information that we didn't have before, and I think that's a good thing. It's a really good thing that we have. People now have a platform that wasn't there before, and the media isn't what it was and what it used to be. Don't get me wrong, people still consume the media, they still consume a lot of news and stuff like that. But I think if something goes unreported by the news, it will get picked up by social media and other individuals. And that will then be picked up by the news because it will look bad if they don't pick it up. And I think it's a really good thing. I think the way that information travels now, it travels so quickly. I think that's the thing that I think people find scary and they don't really understand, is the fact that all this is happening in the world and we can literally know about it as it's happening because of live streaming, because of videos, Twitter, and anything like that. We're living in such a connected world, and I think there's pros and cons to it, in the sense that, like, really good for getting movement started, really good for pushing new things, new ideas, new just really good for getting traction on things, but also it's negative in the sense that it can have a bad effect. Say for example, someone wants to twist something that someone said, or someone wants to put someone down, make them sound negative. It's so much easier for them to do that without really having any person or body or regulators that will say, no, you can't do that because it's not right and that's wrong. So it comes down to the individual to decide what is right and wrong, and I think that's where we're going to have to learn a few lessons, in the sense that, like, what you post has an impact, and it can have an impact, and you've got to think about the end person watching it and what they might think. This video doesn't have any real it's I don't really have a subject matter. Like, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about this morning. I just think if you're worried, or if you're feeling anxious, or if you're if you're like, just please understand it's going to be okay. Like, 2020 isn't your fault. It's not anything to do with you. It's not a reflection to do with you. Use it as a time to learn. Use it as a time to really get that inner voice, that the way you deal with yourself. Learn about that. Learn about how you work. Learn about your emotions. Learn about how you best work. Like, because I think a lot of people before were using in escapism in the sense of, like, work, and shopping and materialism, to kind of push back their emotions. And I think 2020 is a year that's really opened that up for a lot of people, and I think it's scary. It's been really different, and yeah, but I'm almost grateful that it's happened. I think it's needed to happen. I think we've gone through a long time since I was born, minus 9/11 and the London riots, and then the bombings in London on the underground and the buses. There's not really been anything that's been, and the Manchester bombings a couple of years ago. There's not really been anything on a global scale that has impacted thousands and millions and billions of people on the scale that it has. Like, it's not, we've not had anything in this sense since since World War One and World War Two, and then obviously there's the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. Like, and I think I read a book on the flu pandemic called Pale Rider, and that talks about how in the time after the pandemic, like, people or the way that we worked completely changed, in the sense that, like, the way that doctors found out new information, the way that the governments worked, the way that anything sort of worked changed, like, dramatically because of the Spanish flu pandemic, because it was such on a global scale. That's a really interesting read if you get a chance. And also, I just think, like, everything's kind of come to a bit of a bottleneck now, in the sense that, like, the Black Lives Matter movement, that has been going on for years. It's been going on since, like, well over 60, 70 years, since the 1950s, since the slave trade was abolished, since the since everything started changing. It's still been going on, like, and the reason that I think it's getting so much traction, this is just me giving my 2 cents on it, is because of social media, because of people who are aware of it. And then also, I do think that the younger generations are more welcoming of the idea and more supportive of it. I think that people, they like to stand for something, and they like to be part of something. And I think what is going on is really good, in the sense that, like, so I watched that this Jumpy. I watched that 13th on Netflix, and it talks about how there's literally, like, something in the amendments rights, and it says that, like, no one can become a slave unless they're arrested. And then there's this whole kind of thing over the years of, like, basically making it really easy for cops and politicians to arrest black people, and then giving them a lot harsher sentences. That is such a good watch. If you ever get a chance, or if you ever are on Netflix and you're stuck for something to watch, or you just want something new to watch, then I highly recommend that. It's scary in the sense that, like, how big corporations are involved, how America is not what it seems at all. Like, I remember being a kid, and I remember thinking, like, America was, like, this great country, is amazing. But social media, I think social media has shown us that, like, they really don't have their shit together. very backwards. It seems to me very self-centered. I just think there's a lot that we're going to learn, and I think there's still more to learn. It's just in everything and every sense. But yeah, if you see something on social media that pisses you off, or that angers you, or that upsets you, could be anything, something for the Black Lives Matter, something against the Black Lives Matter, something that someone did, something that, like, I don't know, EDL, they're getting involved in it now. Please, like, take a step back. Like, you add your own filter to it. You consume that content, but don't let it affect you. Almost take a step back. Detach yourself from it. Like, detach yourself from what you've seen. And you're going to see stuff on the news. You're going to see stuff on social media. You're going to see little snippets. And, like, I think this is the whole point of any movement that's going on at the minute, is like, take the time to educate yourself about stuff, and take the time to get your own opinions and collate your own ideas. Like, don't just use a 30-second video clip to give you your overview of what you think and what you've always thought, because that doesn't lead to change. That doesn't lead to growing. That doesn't lead to anything. Nothing's beneficial is going to happen from you watching the fucking 30-second video and then going, oh yeah, I knew they were like that. And the same goes for any movement or anything that you see on social media, like veganism, religion, politics. Like, take the time to look at it, understand it, and then really get the information, because the information is there. You've just got to go and look for it. This turned out to be a bit of a weird one. I've gone on loads of different subjects, but I think the main message behind this one is that you're gonna, the way that we're getting content, the way that we're finding out about stuff has changed. There's a lot more transparency, and this feels to me like the transition period between the old world and the new world, and it's a bit muddy because no one fucking knows what's going on. And I think we've got to go through this. We've got to understand that, like, the way that we do stuff is now going to change. And I think it's a really good thing, because I think when politics and when politicians when it's an election year, and when they know that they're going to be in the limelight, they suddenly start doing all this shit that they probably would have never done before, in the sense that they, like, care about, they're going to help and donate and give their time and things like that. Whereas I think now they won't be able to do that, or I think they'll have to do it just all the time. And if people don't want to do it, then people are going to see that. So I think that, for me, where, like, I think politicians should build personal brands, and I think they should have personal brands in the sense that, like, making content, making videos, showing actually how they're making an impact in people's lives and doing their actual job. And I think that will be the game changer for certain politicians. Sorry. I think the way that we consume, the way that we do stuff is going to change. I think the fact that Netflix are putting out things that challenge the status quo, I think that's really good. Just in any sense, like, they've been pushing a lot more in terms of, like, psychedelics and stuff. And, like, psychedelic research, and stuff that would have never been talked about or even remotely mentioned before, because it's like a Class A drug here, and in America it's I don't know how they rate their drugs. I think it's the same level in America, and it's never been talked about or touched or even remotely given a voice or a platform. And I think by talking about it, I genuinely, I'm really interested in it, in psychedelics and the way that it alters the mind, and the way that it's essentially like meditation, in the sense that you're like really opening your mind to different things. I never tried it, but I'm really fascinated about it. I've read a few books now that have actually mentioned it. Tim Ferriss mentions it a lot, and then like Netflix, like all these new platforms that weren't around like 10 years ago, now are giving things a voice that I think needs to have a voice, and deserve to have a voice, like, and then let people choose based on that, instead of just the media and politicians telling the world how to think. All these new platforms are letting people do that. I think this is the muddy period that we're going through. This is a period that we do need to go through, and it will feel scary, it will feel different, but I think we're going to come out the other side. I think we're going to be better once we're out the other side, and I think we're going to be more respectful and more open to other things and other ideologies and other ideas, other thoughts, we're not going to be so narrow-minded, and I think that's a good thing, but we just need to, as humans, work it out how to get there. I don't mean this in a negative way. I think it's really good. I think we just need to do it, and we'll find out how to work it. What's something you noticed about the world recently? What is something that you have found out? Maybe it's something you found out about yourself. Maybe it's something you found out about the Black Lives Matter movement, or a politician, or anything. What's something you found out that you didn't think you'd find out, and how has it impacted your life? How has it changed your life? I want to say thank you very much for watching this video. I don't know what I'm going to title this. I'll have to watch it back and work out. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you some thoughts around new ideas and new thinking. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening.